hope you guys enjoyed this video of me. I don't know what that was. I'm gonna refilm this. So welcome back to another video, and welcome to me literally filming this video after everyone has already talked about it. This was a topic that was pretty popular like a couple months ago, and a lot of YouTubers were covering it, but because it's still a topic, should be ongoing conversation, and it is still a prevalent problem, I think I should still talk about it because it is still relevant, and right now I have in my midst the object of discussion. We're going to talk about, if you couldn't already guess from the title, spider ball pythons, what they are, and why they should be banned. Which is a pretty heavy statement. Let me get our little friend. This is a spider ball python. I'm not actually sure how old this little guy is. Before I get any further, he is not mine. He is my friend's, snake. And she doesn't think there's anything wrong with spider ball pythons and breeding them, so she bought him. He's not a rescue or anything. He was sold to her by a breeder. A little bit cautious because I'm not super used to handling snakes, and I'm not completely sure of his temperament, so I might be a little fidgety with him because I am a little afraid he'll bite me, and I did just wake him up, so it's kind of, if he bites me, it's okay. Because I woke him up, and he has the right to be angry. So he's like melting in my hand. I forget how good it feels to hold a snake. It is so nice. Anyway, I don't know what he's doing. So this little guy, as you can see, is gorgeous. He's got this nice like tanny yellow color all over him, and then he's got these beautiful little thin out stripes compared to like what you would see in a normal. They're very like thin, elongated. However, these thin little stripes on him, and he might be a tad underweight. He hasn't eaten in 3 weeks apparently, according to his owner, but that's not here nor there. But anyway, so the price of these, ooh, hi, I'm not gonna stress you out too much. You are a beautiful boy. I think he just struck. So he is a little bit temperamental. She wasn't kidding. Okay, I'm just gonna hold him for a few more seconds. But so the price of these beautiful elongated stripes is neurological issues. So we're going to talk about what a neurological issue is and what it isn't. A neurological issue doesn't make your animal dumb, which is what some people seem to think it is. It doesn't make your animal cuter. It doesn't make it dumb. A neurological issue affects their balance and their ability to move around and their quality of life. So I'm going to put him back because he's very defensive and I don't really want to get bit. My camera stopped recording, so it always does that, so who knows where I stopped talking. Just go over the levels though. So right now he doesn't have a head wobble. He will when he's older though. It just depends how severe it is. So at less severe side, he will just have some trouble striking his prey and just a little bit of a wobble when he moves around, but other than that he'll be completely fine. At a moderate stage, I would probably say he'll have to be assist fed every once in a while, at least like once or twice throughout his life, having trouble like really striking and stuff, and he'll be pretty wobbly. At a severe state, he will have to constantly be assist fed because he won't be able to strike his prey properly, and he'll probably self-strike himself a couple of times where he'll turn around, he'll be like so confused and turned around that when he tries to go for the mouse, he ends up biting himself. It's most severe, he will have to be put down because he constantly has to be assist-fed, is constantly self-striking himself, and just has a very, very low quality of life where he can barely like do anything, move around, find his water dish because he's constantly so disoriented. So, why on earth would you breed an animal that has the possibility to need to be put down before its time is over, like before its lifespan, is my question. And of course breeders will argue that they can breed it out of them, like to be of the lesser case, but you're still taking a risk of the animal developing the most severe form, which to me just isn't worth it. Yes, the spider ball python is a gorgeous morph in my opinion, very nice thin stripes down the back, it looks very cool. But what is the cost for that cool pattern? I just don't think it's worth it. I value the life of the animal over how pretty it is. For example, I got my crested gecko Clyde, who is a Dalmatian morph, which gives them beautiful black spots all over him. I specifically got him because of his morph, because I thought it was really cool and really pretty. However, if I would know that, hey, Dalmatians have a shorter lifespan, or hey, they have neurological issues, I would not have gotten a Dalmatian, because I want my animals to be healthy and happy above anything else. And I think that is the signs of a quality breeder. A breeder, when they breed animals, should be looking at the animal's health and the animal's quality. Those should be their top two priorities. Money can be a third, I don't care, but you should be breeding healthy animals. Otherwise, I really want to bring into question you as a breeder. It's pretty unethical, in my opinion, to have an animal like that. A guy, I think his name is Brian, from Snakebites or whatever the heck, I might be mixing up the channels, I'll double check so I don't accidentally accuse the wrong person, made a whole video trying to defend the spider morph, bringing up like, oh well, if it was a dog breed everyone would be fine with it, it's just because it's a snake. But really, we should be calling into questions our breeding of every single animal in the world. If we are breeding an animal wrong to where it has issues, we should not be breeding it that way anymore. Because we as humans have the responsibility to take care of animals and to give them the best life possible whenever we take them as our own, when we take them out of the wild. We become responsible for their quality of life. They are dependent on us for everything: food, shelter, water, and breeding. They are under our care, and therefore we should be giving them the highest quality of life that we can, and that is just not represented in the spider ball python. Once again, if it was in dogs, we shouldn't be breeding dogs with neurological disorders. It's super messed up, and I think if people saw dogs being bred with neurological disorders, everyone would be like, that's super messed up. But because it's snakes, it doesn't get as much traction, and people like to bypass it because it's a cool pattern. I recently learned that bulldogs and a lot of other flat-faced dogs actually a lot of the times have to get surgery in order to breathe properly. I always knew that they had some issues breathing, but however, it turns out it actually is super dangerous to them, and a lot of dogs can die from not being able to breathe in their airways properly, and they have to get surgeries to correct it. If you are breeding an animal that needs surgery to live, you should probably stop breeding that animal. Just a thought. Because at what point does it become worth it, all of cosmetic surgeries and life-saving surgeries, when you could just, I don't know, breathe a healthy dog? So, or a healthy animal of any sorts. And even though the spider ball python is the one gaining so much traction, we need to talk about the other morphs that are super messed up, like Enigma leopard geckos. Like, it just really spirals out of control because people are breeding so many animals so wrong. I think that breeders who do breed animals like this just clearly show that they don't actually care about animals, which is a pretty intense argument to make and lay on people because you can't tell individually, but I think it comes over aesthetic over quality of life. And to me, quality of life. So now it comes down to the ban, because ban is a pretty big word and it ticks a lot of people off, and it brings into question, do we get the government involved? If we're being honest, do we pass like laws and legislation on what kinds of animals we can and can't be breeding? And it all kind of is a mess. I can admit that it's not a clear-cut answer, and you don't necessarily want to bring laws into animal keeping all the time because sometimes it just puts so many stupid regulations on things that don't need to be regulations, but at the same time, it's kind of, in my opinion, almost animal abuse to be breeding animals so improperly. I know there are some Great Danes on Instagram. I don't know if I'll be able to find pictures or videos of them, but they were inbred, which caused very bad spinal deformations in the dogs, and it looks horrendous. I mean, it does not look like a Great Dane, it looks very wrong. Of course the dogs are happy and healthy, or as healthy as they can be, so they don't need to be put down or anything. That's not where I'm getting with this. But if you would not buy one of those Great Dane puppies that had been inbred and looks that way, then why are you buying a spider ball python who is essentially looks that way in the mind? just because it's not a physical deformity doesn't mean it's not an issue. It doesn't mean that it's excusable. So back to getting the law involved. Right now the ban was, I want to say it was a European Reptile Convention or something that banned them from coming into the convention. I'm just hyped up now because I didn't realize how angry I was about it until I started talking about it. Anyway, so this reptile convention, wherever, decided that it was gonna ban spider ball pythons. You can't sell them or bring them in. Like, no, just get out of here with your spider ball pythons. And I think that's where it starts. All of these companies that are doing like expos and enabling people to sell them need to start cutting them off. They need to say, no, we don't want spider ball pythons, we don't want enigma leopard geckos. If your animals are bred to have neurological issues or physical deformities, we don't want them, because if it affects the animal's quality of life, it is a problem. So I think that's where it starts, is not only creating a conversation where we change people's minds and opinions about issues being bred into animals, but also to where we control the trade of them as best we can, because for many breeders who are breeding them purely for profit, if they can't sell them at expos, they kind of lose incentive to breed the animals, because then they can only sell them on like their website and stuff. So they'll probably cut down on how many they're breeding, and then if people really take an interest and realize, hey, it's kind of messed up to breed an animal with neurological issues, then eventually they will just stop breeding them altogether, because there won't be any profit. Because like I say, on the list of things you have to be concerned about as a breeder, you should also be concerned with your profit. That is a part of breeding, it is your job. So if we can affect their profit, then maybe they'll start valuing animals' health and quality over profit, which they should. And I think that's something that should not just affect the reptile world and not just spider ball pythons. I think this should snowball into animals. All animals in general. I think the American Kennel Club Association needs to change their standards for the bulldog and other flat-faced breeds to where they need to be bred to be slightly more breathable and like able to actually be dogs. And I think that goes for all other dog breeds that have deformities or any issues. They need to be bred slightly to less extremes if it's going to be an issue for the dog. Same with like literally any animal. I think that we as a society need to stop looking at things that look aesthetic and start questioning the quality of life and the health of animals. When you go to an expo and you're picking up an animal, you shouldn't just be like, that's a gorgeous animal. You should be like, let me look at this animal. Does it have mites? Does it have any physical deformities that will hurt it that they're not telling me about? Does it have any neurological deformities and issues that they're not telling me about? What is going to be the quality of this animal's life? Will this animal live to its life expectancy? How has it been treated from this previous handler? Am I going to be able to give it the best care that it can have? These are all questions that are valid and that we should ask ourselves, because animals shouldn't just be something pretty that sits on your shelf. Even though I'm a huge fan of display tanks and I have my 2 crested gecko display tanks and I want to make my hermit crab cages a display tank, I still care about those animals and the quality of their life above anything else. If I move my hermit crabs into a huge glass tank and they were having issues with humidity and I needed to move them into a tub, I would move them into a tub, because I'd rather have alive hermit crabs than a beautiful display tank. And I'm actually thinking about moving them into a tub because I want to give them more room, but I also know that it would help humidity a lot and you can get them for cheaper than a tank, but that's besides the point of this video. Yeah, I wish the little boy would have stayed around longer, but just a strike, and he recently just came in. He's only going to be here for like 2 days and then he'll leave, so he's pretty stressed out. He should be asleep right now. I wanted to get some pictures with him, but that's okay. Just to clarify, I'm not suggesting in any way, shape, or form that we should kill all the spider ball pythons in existence. They're fine. As long as they don't have a horrible, horrible quality of life, he can go on living. He's just a chill little dude. I have nothing against him. I have something against the people who bred him, though, and then sold him as if it's not an issue. Because it is an issue. About that, do you want to buy an animal that might have to be put down before its natural lifespan? I don't, and I don't think most people want to. I just don't think most people are engaged enough to realize that that's what it might come down to in your breeding. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that video of me like ranting and raving, because I got kind of heated as I was talking about it, because why? It just seems so stupid. Why would you breed an animal with problems? But anyway, the video's over. Calm down. If you want to start a discussion in the comments down below, that would be amazing. Definitely something that we should keep talking about and discussing, how we can regulate and what the issues are, blah 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 blah. Also, if you'd like to check out my Instagram, link will be in the description box below. I have an Instagram dedicated to all of my animals. You can get updates on each of the little guys if you would be interested in that. I also post like sub-content from what I talked about in the channel, so I might post a picture of that little dude talking about spiral pythons just a little bit, but then I go more in depth in the videos. So it's all kind of a little mixture. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one, hopefully where I'm not ranting and mad. Goodbye.